the things that are great in life. I've got 2 children. Like I want to see them grow. But I don't want to arrive there having to take 6, 8, 10, 12 medications, being all strung out, being tired and fatigued, and can't even do an activity of daily living. So I know I get excited about this stuff.
That's good. I love your enthusiasm.
But I can't help but say, and you out there listening, I want you to know, not only that there's hope, but the research helps us to see what can be done, and that all along, all these results that people are getting, and even what we know in chiropractic, 120 years worth of amazing, incredible things. The pilots right now know that they have to pass a test, a visual test. They're getting to know that they need adjustment. They need their spine adjusted because it actually helps them pass the test, because their visual acuity is better after an adjustment. So everything in your life is all about your brain, and your mechanics relates directly to your brain.
Well, you mentioned pilots, because if you look at who are the highest paid people for a short period of time, you think of athletes. Millions and millions of dollars in every year just to play a sport. And you think about, okay, is that life-changing? But it is part of our society. And every football team, basketball team, baseball team, they've got chiropractors to adjust them, because that hand-eye coordination, the proprioception, so their body and their brain know exactly where they're at. That extra little finger to catch that pass, that extra little swing that's going to hit a home run. I take care of the River Cats here in Sacramento, which is the farm team for the Giants, and I go there twice a week and adjust them during the season so that they are actually improving. I know that I talked to the trainer at the end of the year, and he says, since the team started to get adjusted, that they had less injuries, and one of the players that I first started to take care of, his batting average went up. He's actually now playing with the Giants. That hand-eye coordination. So it's really about, I think the biggest thing is most people get so caught in their daily life that they're asleep and unaware of their body position, where they are in space. They're just where they're going, but not where they're actually at, where they're being. So I think the biggest thing what we want to do with these interviews is just get people awake. Use a different part of their brain, their own self-awareness, so that they're looking at themselves. They're really checking in. And look at your husband or your wife or your kids. Look at your coworkers. We teach our patients how to do a posture check with each other, so they know what they're looking at. And we actually kind of create this little brain trust with each other. Pick somebody that you can actually kind of tap in and go, hey, come on, you're slumping here. Your brain's going dead on you. And if you think about when things go into that sleep mode, it's when there's no movement or motion. If you've got something going on and you move, it's always being stimulated. So we got to be constantly setting up our lifestyle for motion and movement. Every 30, 45 minutes, set a timer. If you have to work at a computer, get up and move. Do something that you're doing. I know that you gave us the mirror last night, and I actually do that same thing with our patients. When I do ergonomic evaluations, we'll go in and I'll say, okay, when you're in good posture, plug that in over here where you can actually see this mirror, and when you're upright, your peripheral vision, you can see it. If you're slumping, you go, okay, I can't see myself. So and that visual cue gets them thinking about it, and then setting a timer on their phone to get up and go get a glass of water. Those are all little things.
It truly is. It's because we're kind of on autopilot. You got to set yourself up for success. So to kind of carry off that, the thing, like if you're sitting at a desk, I mean, at your car, make sure, because we're so just, but I never, again, a car, first thing I'm just kind of trained now to do is push the lumbar support out as far as it can go.
Brings you up right.
Bring you up. Because then, I know I'm within 5 minutes, I'm typically going to be like this. So what do? Is I try to set myself up so where if I'm like in a chair, take a towel, even if you don't have like you got lumbar supports out there people can get and you get, but even if you didn't, take a towel, get a chair if it's not ergonomic, like get this forced, that curve in that low back, just push something in here, it forces your shoulders back, and get your a computer up so you're looking neutral or up so you can keep this arc. The other thing is, like you were saying, to get enough water to where every hour you drink enough where you have to go to the bathroom. Now you got two things. One, obviously water is the fruit of life, and then secondly is that it makes you move. It makes you get up and go to the bathroom, and then when you get to the bathroom, you bend, you stretch. I mean, if you think about, even when you're tired and exhausted, and you do a workout, like even if you go for a walk or so, we know we feel better.
Yes.
Right? It'd be much better than any sort of chemicals that you could put in your body. And that just goes to show how powerful the brain is. And
Yes.
it requires movement. It requires appropriate biomechanics. It requires good nutrients. And when you do that, I like it. You almost got to simplify it.
Yes.
I need a simple thing. I'm not a complicated guy. I'd be too confused, and I would say I just won't do anything. But simplify it. Like that's why what you talked about earlier. You got to eat well.
Yeah.
You got to move your body.
Yeah.
You got to get in the right posture and positioning. Right?
Yes.
And you got to think your thoughts well. I mean,
Yes.
none of that stuff is easy. It's simple though. And so how can you set up your life in your typical day to where you're setting it up for more success biomechanically so that your brain is going to be strong?
Yeah. Boy, we could probably spend, I know that you got to
Yeah.
catch a plane soon, but we could probably spend hours talking about this.
I love that stuff.
Yeah, it is. The thing that I love about it is we can change our brain, one brain at a time, just by being aware of what we teach at the Better Brain, the thought processes, the eating. But if you're thinking well and you're eating well and you're making some adjustments, that's the key. You got to make these adjustments to the way you're thinking. You got to set up your lifestyle ahead of time. You got to use that executive level of your brain, so you're pre-planning these things. Like you think ahead so that you can get your daily rituals, your daily lifestyle, so that your body is in good position, so that you're using the structure of your body to keep you upright with your sitting, and you're not actually using muscles or organs of movement. They got to stimulate the brain. They're not there to hold you upright, and they're going to last about a minute or two before you get in that slumped position. I know that one step at a time is so critical. If you've done the thinking module on day 5 is our energy exercises. I've been teaching patients this for 30 years. I have a patient that's 98 years old. And I said, I interviewed her and I asked her, I said, what do you think the single most important thing that's kept you, she teaches water aerobics at Eschaton, the local senior center. 98 years old, teaching water aerobics to the other 70-year-olds that are not moving. She says, it's those little energy exercises you showed me 30 years ago. I do them every morning, and they take 5 minutes. So with those exercises, to reiterate, it actually starts at the uppermost part of the spine, getting the yes motion, the side motion. It works all the ranges of motion. You're stimulating every single link of the spine, the nervous system, to wake up, to actually stimulate, to wake up the brain. And so it doesn't take a lot. If you want to do something simple, go back to that day 5 or join in at Better Brain modules at our Better Brain Blueprint. It's day 5 on the energy exercises. Like you said, take a walk. Just start, during lunch. Just get a brain trust partner with you and say, hey, let's walk. Because guess what? When people do that, their stress at home goes down.
Yeah.
They start to think more healthy. They actually eat better. They drink more water. So it's all about using our brain at a much higher level. But if we are in this slumped, terrible position, think of that position, you're in a depressed state. Wake up, become more aware, change your body posture, and you're going to be much happier and healthier in the future.
Yeah, and let me say this because I tend to talk about this a lot. You probably got even in this interview where I talk about some of the challenges that we're up against is the fact that this is not addressed in healthcare, and this is why it starts with you, and it starts with this. It truly is, and I'm convinced of this. Just like the civil rights movement was, just like other movements have been that have changed the face of the planet, is that it's got to be people doing it, seeing results, telling others, and really starting a grassroots movement. Because listen to this stat, and this is somewhat mind blowing. When I heard this, I'm like, it aggravates me, it frustrates me, but it also drives me. Which is, so there's a Harvard trained pediatrician. His name was Don Ingber, and Don he had a host of studies. But one of the things that he found out was he started to realize that through some of the literature that he was looking at, that biomechanics absolutely influences human physiology. And not only just like, well, yeah, we know musculoskeletal, I guess it can prevent back issues, it can prevent neck issues. No, he was finding out that addressing biomechanics will literally start to change internal systemic health. And so he goes, and I'm not sure who he went to, but the story goes on. He went to the powers that be. He was at Harvard at the time, so you think maybe some higher ups in that, or maybe government officials and National Institute of Health, and basically said, we got to start looking at this literature and start to implement changing body biomechanics because of how much it can influence positively. And you know what their response was? That there's no way we'll ever do that because you can't put a patent on biomechanics. And if you can't put a patent on biomechanics or changing biomechanics for the positive, that means we can't sell it. And if we can't sell it, we're not interested in it. And so a lot of times, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I am here to say this. You're never going to hear this from probably the people that are culturally authority.
Yes.
Would be, but yet, if you look at and read the stuff that we're reading and looking at the stuff you're reading, it delivers such hope for us.
Yes.
But nobody knows about it, and so we're trying to kind of scream from the mountaintops. Deliver podcasts, deliver videos, deliver blueprints to show. I'm telling you, do it. Get involved. Do it. Your life will change. We know it. We see it on patients on a daily basis. But most importantly, the science backs it up. And it's like do it for yourself. Like this will truly change you. So I get excited about it.
Well, today could be the first day of the rest of your life where you're changing things so that 10, 20, 30 years down the road, you're not only much healthier, but you're more alive and more alert and more satisfying all the things that are most important. Your goals come true much easier when you're feeling better. So in just closing with this interview, thank you for joining in again. We want to bring experts to you, and Dr. Sullivan here is definitely, as you can see, a very passionate expert. You could sit here for days and he could cite research after research of showing how important it is to move our body, how that affects your brain, how that affects your overall health, and it doesn't take anything. It just takes your focus to start today and make a difference in your overall health. Any closing words you want to say?
I would just leave with that is there is hope. There is hope, and until we buy into that, and I'm a work in progress, just like anybody else. Until we buy into that, just take the first step. I just promise you, and a lot of you already are. You're on the 50th step, and keep at it, and there's always more you can do. But I want you to be encouraged that the best science. We typically think that the big hospitals and the big research centers and the big medical institutions, and although they serve a great purpose, we tend to think that that's where all the health is. That's where all the healthcare. That's the greatest. If I could have the greatest healthcare, but the reality is the greatest healthcare is what you're doing to change your brain, hands down. And you can be excited about that. You can take that literally to the bank from like the greatest asset you have on physical earth is our health.
Yes.
And when you change the brain, this stuff that you're doing and putting out, when you change the brain, I'm telling you, it not only is better than the greatest, places and med centers, it helps you avoid ever being in there, right? Yes. And so that's the goal here, is to avoid that stuff, so you can live the life that you have, and you can experience the love and the things that the priorities of life that you can. There was always a great saying. They say, we all have hopes and aspirations and dreams when we feel good and we're in general in life at certain stages. But when you're sick and diseased, you have one goal.
Yeah, just get healthy again.
And so think about that. I want your goals and dreams to be reached and to be focused on those. Health is it's got to be a necessary thing that goes with it. So again, changing the brain, there's nothing you could do better.
Great. Thank you so much. We just
Honored.
met last night, and I think there was an immediate connection just because we're on the same wavelength. We're here to make a difference in people's health. So share this video with others. Make sure that you're moving today. Start today. Go to the store and get some new tennis shoes and just take a walk. Do the energy exercises and try and stay abreast to all the things that we're teaching with the Better Brain Blueprint. I look forward to future conversations, and for all of you out there, have an awesome rest of your day.